Remember the Jagdpanther when ground forces came into open beta? Remember the T-50 at rank 1 for the Russians? Or for that matter, all the T-34s with the 57mm cannon? Yeah, I do as well. And here's another one of those kinds of tanks. The 76 Jumbo, and we're gonna have a closer look at it today in this video. So, welcome ladies and gentlemen, I am Korpen Flieger and this here is my, not really a review about the Jumbo, the 76 Jumbo, but it's still a review. It's more of a, I don't know, state of the tank in the game review video or something like that. And today we're gonna have a closer look at the Jumbo. We're gonna have a bit of a information walkthrough about the tank and what its selling points and pros and cons are. And we're gonna have a look at some gameplay videos that I've been recording where I'll show you just how insanely overpowered this thing is in the game as of now. A little bit of a disclaimer though, it's only overpowered when you meet tanks at your own rank, that is at battle rating 5.7. So if you face tanks that have battle rating 6.7, that is German King Tigers, you don't have a chance, you're dead. But luckily there's a lot of people playing the Tiger tanks, the Tiger 1 tanks that is, and when you face them you're in for a field day and it's just seal clubbing all round. So that's mainly what I'm gonna be focusing on today, and I'm gonna show you just how insane this tank is and why this should probably raise the battle rating of the tank a little bit more than what it is at the moment. I think perhaps a battle rating of 6.3 would be okay, because it's just silly when you find yourself going up against 4.7 battle rating German tanks and they just don't have a chance. They have ammunition that will at best penetrate around 100mm of armor, and there you are with ammunition like this one, the M93 APCR shot that will penetrate almost 200mm of armor at 10 meters. So it's just insane, you know. But it doesn't mean that this tank is fun. And if you have the chance, well, I do recommend it because it's a lot of fun as it is in the game right now. But be prepared to take a shower afterwards because you're gonna feel dirty seal slubbing all those rank 5 tanks. So yeah, over to the basic walkthrough of the tank. So this tank has a reasonable amount of armor, and it's also applique armor. Most of these Jumbos that were made that had the 76mm M1A1 gun were field modifications of M4A3 Shermans that were field modified in France because the need was of a tank that could take some serious punishment and that could face a tiger and be able to knock it out. And under general pattern, the order came that some of these Jumbos should be fitted with this kind of M1A1 anti-tank gun. And although these tanks never received, or as far as I know, never received this M93 shot with the 194mm of penetration at best, they have it in the game. And I don't know why, because these kinds of APCR rounds for these cannons were ammunition that the tank destroyers use mainly. But yeah, it could be possible, or it is plausible, that some of these tanks actually received that kind of ammo, since this tank was actually designed to go up against German heavy tanks and Panthers. And does it have a chance against them in the game? Oh yes, it does. These hypershot rounds, the APCR rounds that this Jumbo use, will go through German armor like a warm knife through butter. And the tank also have roughly the same kind of armor that Tiger 1 has, the same thickness. One difference though, this armor is sloped, and it's also applique armor, and that means that there is a basic layer of armor that the M4A3 Sherman had, and on top of that they took armor from other Shermans that have been knocked out, and they took armor plates and they fitted them on top of the first plate of armor. And in some cases they actually even took the frontal hull upper glacis plate from Panthers and they welded them onto the Shermans. In that way the tank became the Jumbo with this double layer of spaced armor. So that's probably the main thing about this tank, the hull armor. If you look at it like this, you can see that it's only 50mm of armor, although it's sloped. So this should be an easy penetration. But the thing is that what you see here is the upper layer of the armor. There's a second layer of armor below this. It's more or less the same kind of armor, but double the thickness. And yeah, it can really take a beating. Almost all the shells that the Germans have, all the way up to Tiger 1E and Tiger 1 Porsche tank, none of those tanks can penetrate the armor. So I've actually been penetrated when angling the tank, weirdly enough. I've been penetrated by Panthers as well, so at the front, and that should actually increase the armor thickness, but it seems like it's broken somehow, and it seems like the Panthers have a easier way of penetrating the frontal hull armor if I angle the tank like this, and I don't get it. But that's what I have to say about the gun and the armor on this thing. This tank has a great gun mantlet with roughly 180mm of armor thickness, and the rest of the turret is decent enough or thick enough to bounce shells. What you need to watch out for is not to give enemy tankers the unclear shot on the upper plate of the hull, because that might penetrate and they might knock you out that way. But if you don't give the enemy a clear shot at your side, you're fine. You have nothing to fear, unless you go up against King Tigers, and if you do that you need to be very careful, because they're gonna one-shot you for sure. And also another thing about the Jumbo, for all of you who's looking at this video and wanting to get to know where the weak spots are on this tank, know this, that this plate up here is also applique armor, just like on the front, but a thinner layer, but it has double armor. But this area here is just one single layer, and it's also non-sloped, so it's pretty easy to penetrate. So let's have a look at the modules so that we can see what's in it. And as you could see, that area down here, if you go for that, you might hit the track and the track will soak up the damage, but if you don't, you will knock out the engine. Here you can hit the ammo and that will detonate the tank. That's a short one-shot kill if you're not really unlucky. You can also injure machine gunner, driver and the transmission and radiator as well. So that's if I'm facing this tank and I'm having a clear side shot at him. I think I would go for a shot up here, but in general the best bet is to try to hit some of these spots here in between the road wheels in the transmission and just below the tracks, because that's going to be a one-shot kill. Somewhere around here that will ignite the ammo and blow up the tank. So, enough about the Jumbo. Let's have a look at some gameplay and how it performs in the game. So, we're starting off by having a look at the tank in simulator battles. And this isn't my first battle in simulator mode, or in the simulator mode in this tank. I had a few games before this one, enough games to unlock the APCR ammo, but with the new APCR ammo comes a new velocity, and I'm not really used to it at this point, but I'm taking a ranging shot here, and third shot goes a little low, fourth shot as well, but I knock out the transmission, and that guy is stationary, and now I can start pepper away at him until I knock something critical and he is knocked out. So that's a Tiger 1H1, and at this range he can't do nothing against me. He can only put dents in my armor with his ammo. So I'm completely safe, and well, I'm not concerned at all about my safety until I see these 3 tanks on my right. And I'm kinda okay. This was perhaps what I was asking for when I was just driving down the main road on the map, not seeking shelter at all. This was more or less a test, and I kinda realized that, wait, that is Jagdpanzer 470, and he actually has a more dangerous gun than the 88. So I kinda focused on him, but he got knocked out, and then after that the Tigers were all knocked out as well. And I could see that there were some kind of tank up in the woods, and at a closer inspection I found out that it was a Panzer IV H. So I gave him 1 APCR round, and then I switched over to AP normal rounds, and I knocked him out with 1 shot. So my main tactics for this battle was to take a high ground point near the road, so that all could see me, so that I could take fire, and if I could, answer the fire and knock out the enemy tanks. But my main idea was that I would draw fire from the enemy, and my teammates would circle around them or flank around them on the left in the town. I thought that if the enemy would see me, they would park their tanks and they would start firing at me. And in that respect I actually succeeded with my tactics, because all of them just parked the second they saw me, all but the Panzer IV H, who tried to flank around, and that was a smart move against the Jumbo. The worst thing you can do, especially against the Jumbo with a 76mm cannon, is to just park your tank and try to knock out the Jumbo by a well-placed shot, because unless you're in a King Tiger or a Tiger E with APCR ammo, or the premium Tiger Porsche, you won't knock out this tank. That's just it's not gonna happen. So I creep up and I spot another Tiger moving up. Give it 1 shot to the side. It doesn't matter what kind of deflection you get on a Tiger, you will still penetrate with this kind of APCR ammo that this tank has. Unless, of course, if the angle is really steep, then you will bounce. And it seems like I'm still taking fire from over here, so I decide to investigate. I go through the woods. I've gotten a few kills so far, and I come to this lumberyard, and all of a sudden I take fire again, and I could see that there was a Tiger on the hill. He had set him up at a slight angle, and that's actually a very good angling of the armor when you're playing a tiger, but it doesn't matter against the jumbo. If he has a steep angle like that on his side, all I have to do is to penetrate his front. So yeah, Tiger 1H doesn't have a chance against the jumbo, and that's just the way it is. So initially I thought that I was still taking fire from that tiger me down there in the ditch, but the tank actually shooting at me was the Panzer 4H on the hill there. So 2 shots later and he's gone. So we're racking up the kills in the simulator battle mode with this jumbo, and yeah, if you have the jumbo with this ammo, get used to it, because at this point there's really no opposition. You have the Jagdpanzer 470s. They're actually quite good at penetrating the jumbo using their best ammo, but they still need a lucky shot to penetrate. And I could see there by some fire coming in that there was a tank here on the underside of the bridge, so I just drove straight up and over it and then fired on the move into the side of that Jagdpanzer 470. Not giving one shit. And yeah, this was more or less the first battle I had where I decided to not take any precaution and not to play cautiously, and just go YOLO mode and to see what happens if you do that. And the result so far has been great. So there's another Jagdpanzer 470, 1 shot to the right side of his hull and you knock out the tank in 1 or 2 shots, possibly even 3. Even though they're very well sloped, this ammo just goes straight through that frontal hull armor. And yeah, writing about my experience so far in this game in the chat. And my teammates agree with me that perhaps this tank should have a different battle rating. So we're gonna switch over to the realistic battles, because I wanted to investigate how this tank is in RB as well. So the next couple of clips are gonna be from RB. So here we are at Carpathian Mountains, and I can see right away as we move up on the right flank of the map that we have contact, and I suspect that there will be heavy tanks around the corner here. So I tried to flank them, but as I crawl up the slope here I find a couple of tanks. That's 1 Panther and then a Tiger on his left. So I go to work on the Panther, and the Jumbo is quite good at shooting over a ridge like this, as are any M4 tank really. That gun depression is just great. And on the Jumbo, considering you have such a formidable amount of armor on the turret, you can really do this to your benefit. And turned out that I was wrong. This was actually 2 Tigers and a Panther, and I knocked out 1 Tiger and I knocked out that Panther, and now I'm getting really cocky, so I cross the ridge, get up to the same kind of level as the Tiger, and I pursue him. Because since he's a Tiger H, I have nothing to fear from him. He can of course knock out my gun and get around the flank and knock me out, but that's not really a big threat, and chances are that I will be able to repair my gun before he gets to flank around me and yeah, I spotted that other tiger, so I gave him a shot and I knocked him out, and then I could see that that tiger had turned up his side against me, so I could knock him out. So yeah, nice and quick action there. So if you like those kills, you will love these that are coming up now. So we're at jungle, and one of my friends have gotten himself into some serious trouble, and he's asking for help. So I do my best to help him out by knocking out that unsuspecting tiger. And while we're at it, why not have another? Perhaps set a third on fire. So that's 3 shots, 2 killed tigers and 1 on fire. And yeah, I'm really starting to feel like this tank is a bit too much for this level at this point. But at the same time, I'm getting a bit morbidly intrigued as well. I want to press it to its limits to see how many kills you can get in this thing, and what kind of ridiculous situations you can put yourself in and survive. So, oh yeah, I found Jagdpanzer 470, and I knocked him out, just like I did with those Jagdpanzer 4s on the Eastern Europe map. And that's the end for that tiger right there. So, considering the fact that you have a reload time, a really quick reload time on this tank at around roughly 6 seconds, you can actually stop and hold armored advance just like that. And I spot some more tanks on my minimap as I move up, so I immediately turn around to face this Panther that it turned out to be. Give him a shot at the upper glacis. No problem there, shots go straight through, and then another shot to the right of the gun to cripple the gunner, and then the third shot to the left side of the tank to knock out any eventual surviving crewman. So here, first shot goes to the driver's hatch to put him on fire, and then I knock out the gunner, go back down to knock out another crewman, and why not have a go at the MG port as well, and that's a kill. It's just ridiculous. The amount of firepower that you can put on the enemy in a short time in this tank is just ridiculous. They don't have a single chance. Speaking of Ridicululz, have a look at this situation that's coming up. I've initially just driven straight down the main road, down the middle of the map, and I've scored some kills by not giving a single beep where I point my tank, and just facing the enemies head on and knocking them out one by one. But despite all that, and despite the fact that we actually had the cap, we lost the cap to the enemy team's tigers who moved up, and they took the cap. So I turned around and I went straight for the cap to try to recapture it, and I'm facing this kind of situation where there are 3 tigers and 1 Panzer IV F2 firing at me from roughly 500 meters. The shots just keep raining in on me and nothing is happening. Oh yeah, they crippled my turret. And that's it, more or less. The only thing they can hope of doing is to maybe knock out my gun, or to immobilize the tank by taking out a track or 2. But yeah, I answered the fire and I put some serious hurt on them. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention that there was a captured KB1 as well firing at me. But yeah, once I start answering the fire, I can cripple their tanks and I knock them out eventually. And as it happens, I spot these two panthers as well. So I give the one at the back one round and I knock him out, and then I give the other one round as well, and he's a one-shot kill. This isn't enough to change the tide of the battle, and we will actually end up losing this battle. But I've lost count of how many tanks that were shooting at me, but I just parked on the ridge 500 meters away from them and they couldn't do anything. And if the shots penetrated, the shells were broken up against that applique armor and they couldn't do much. This tank is so unfair. So in the next clip, oh yes, there will be more blood for the Jumbo. We're at Poland, and once again, not giving a single shit. I am going straight into the town with the hope that I will stop their advance down the main road in the middle of the town. So I move up this street, and I know that there might possibly be tanks on the right side here as I cross the street here. No, I come up on the street and it's pretty much empty. I was suspecting that there would be tanks coming up on this road towards sea, but no, there were none. So I, instead of waiting around, I'm not gonna have any of that in this Jumbo. I pursue them because I know they're there since they have capped the circle. So I move up, but ever so cautiously I sneak around the corners here. Nothing to the left. How about the right? Yep, sure enough, Tiger right there. Let's give him a round to the magazine, and yeah, he's gone. So once again we move up, since this street is cleared. We try to find the rest of those enemy tanks. And checking corners, right's clear, left is not, so snapshot there, and lucky enough for me I hit the ammo rack and that tire was gone in one shot as well. So repeat the process, go around the corner, check the corners, see what you can find, and hello tiger. I hit the storage bin at the back of the turret and it seems like that soaked up the damage. Next shot I was aiming for the ammo rack, but I missed and hit the crewman instead and almost got myself killed because I ran up on that little pillar there and almost got stuck, but I made it out in the end. That tiger is shooting at some other tank, or maybe it's just missing me by a great distance, and I get the time enough to aim, and 2 shots later he's dead. And here's where this clip might become a bit laggy, so I beg your pardon for any minor lag that might be happening here. But still I chose to include this clip in the video because it's a nice game and it's well worth watching. So checking my corners always as I cross streets, and I'm ready to take the shot, but since there's no tanks I'm not stopping. And I spot a panther moving between houses there, and I wait for him and I take the shot and hit the ammo rack once again, so he's dead. That's one less panther to worry about. So what's next? Let's move up. Oh, there's the tiger. One shot. I hit the spare thread on his turret, and he's getting nervous because he's under fire. I switched target since there's another tiger moving up, totally oblivious to the tracer round that I just fired at the front tiger. So that cost him his tank, and then I could finish off that first tiger with a second shot. So here I'm just looking around, I'm thinking about capping, but I can see on the map that we have tanks moving in. So I decide to protect them, and sure enough there's another tiger incoming. There's tigers everywhere during this game. So first shot to the side of the hull, second shot to cripple the gunner, and here I try to aim for the ammo rack, and I'm just a little bit to the left to get that ammo rack shot and that kill. So I try to repeat the process, but I have no good angle, so I aim for the turret instead, and he goes around the corner, so I pursue him, but it turns out that he's already in a tangle with another M4, so I just assist that guy by putting some hurt on that tiger, but the other M4 knocks out the tiger. This game is chaos, total chaos, and now we've been capped. C has been capped, all the bases belongs to not us. And so I have to move back up to C, and on the way check your corners always. I don't need to check to the left because I can see on the map that there are friendlies about that way. So move back through the town up to C, check the corners again, nothing there. How about on this side? Apparently I get an assist for something. I move up at quite a high speed now. Come around the corner here and hello Panther. Bang. Cripple the crewman, and then we shoot from the hip. We hit the other remaining crewman in that Panther, so that tank is gone since the crew got knocked out. So here I'm trying to position myself where I can side scrape around the corner. And if you don't know what side scraping is, I'm gonna post a video where I explain some basic tank tactics that you can use in all tank games and simulators, be it World of Tanks or War Thunder. And I could see that there was a AAA truck firing down, or AAA tank firing down the road there, and I knew that there was something coming up, and it turned out to be a Panzer IV, so I knocked him out with one shot. So still capping, and since we got the zone and there's nothing happening, I decide to move up. I shouldn't have done that. Hadn't I done that, this might have been an even more epic game than it already is. But I move up to the edge of the village here. I spot some tanks, or one tank to begin with, but there's gonna be some more. There's a Panther, he's out in the open, so range the shot, and a poor hit, not a good hit. Second shot hits the track. I'm taking fire, not from that Panther, but the third shot is a good hit. So I give him another, set him on fire, and then I can see that there's the fire I'm taking comes from that Jagdpanzer 470, and I hit him. I immobilize him by taking out the transmission, and second shot goes through the upper right side of the tank, and that's a kill. So here I park at the edge of the village, just waiting for this tiger or the Panther to move up, and all of a sudden I'm taking fire from the right, looking to the right, can't see anything, but you might have seen that there was a panther there, but I didn't spot him, so I thought that it was some kind of bug or something, that I was actually taking fire from the left. So I kinda stay where I am, and all of a sudden I'm dead, because that panther got the second shot at me and he hit my ammo rack, and that was the end for that wonderful game. So he did the right thing, he flanked me and he knocked me out. So in what other way can you knock out the Jumbo? And we're gonna have a look at that in this clip. But first we have tanks to kill. So I moved up on the left side of the map, and there's tanks moving up to Cap A, and I'm determined to stop them as they move up. And I can feel that this is gonna be an epic game. I have this gut feeling, since there's a lot of tanks moving up that road there, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna get a lot of kills in this game because they're oblivious to us here on the flank. So I'm concentrating on these guys here, trying to knock them out as best as I can. That panther is returning fire, and all of a sudden there's another panther moving up, and I decide that that's a better shot, so I go for him, set him on fire, set him on fire again, try to knock him out by hitting that ammo rack. Some other tank knocks him out on my team, and all of a sudden my turret is jammed. And I think that the tanks that's shooting me is that tiger right there at my 12 o'clock. But the tank that is really putting hurt on my tank is the one at 1 o'clock. But I don't even think I paid him much attention. And all of a sudden I get knocked out by that panther. And we're gonna have a look at the shot replay. Watch where he's firing. Bang! That's the way to knock out a Jumbo 76. So well done to him, and good game. So that is how you knock out the Jumbo. You hit it right here, and you make sure you have ammunition that will get through at least 140-ish millimeters of armor. Hit it here and you will knock out the tank. So yeah, that panther did well in knocking me out, because he's basically the only one that has succeeded in knocking me out that way so far during my grind up to the T32 in the Jumbo. So as always, if you liked the video, please consider leaving a like by pressing the thumbs up button below the video near the video description, and please subscribe to my channel for more content like this in the future. Thank you all for watching, guys, and I see you guys around.